UFC Fight Night Holloway versus Rodriguez full card prediction with 12 fights on the entire fight card. The main event. Let's just clap for it because we have Max Holloway coming back as one of the greatest featherweight fighters of all time. Probably at number 3 or at number 2 as a featherweight of all time, only losing to champions Dustin Poirier, Alexander Volkanovski again, Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier, and then one non-champion by split decision. And he's going to fight Yair Rodriguez in that main event. We got Ben Rothwell, Marco Cedillo de Lima, which is going to be a very solid fight. Felicia Spencer fighting Leah Letson, who has not really fought in quite a while in the women's featherweight division. Daukaus taking on a short notice opponent in Roman Dolidze. Roman was supposed to fight Eric Anders, and of course Kevin Holland. Daukaus was the original fight. Now both fights have been scrapped. They're going to whack them together with a new fight of Roman Dolidze and Daukaus. We got Thiago Moisés coming off a main event fight with Islam Makhachev. Going to be fighting Joel Alvarez, Cynthia Calvillo, Andrea, Miguel, Baeza, Khaos Williams. Bangers, all I got to say. Sean Woodson and Collin, Anglin, Courtney Casey, Liana, Jojua, Rafael, Alves, Marc, Diakiese, banger. And then Kennedy and Nzechukwu and Jung. Another banger right there. Cannot wait for a lot of these fights right there. Fight of the night is definitely Song versus Arce. Either that, or I would say it might actually be the main event of Max Holloway, Yair Rodriguez. One of those two fights is for sure going to be fight of the night. Rothwell, the second round submission is definitely possible, but Marcos Rogério de Lima, he can definitely knock out Ben Rothwell. It's a really solid fighter, very underrated, as you did say. Let's get in the full card prediction. We go on to the light heavyweight division right here. If it is going to load, Kennedy, Nzechukwu, and Jung in the light heavyweight division. I'm going to say it one more time, Nzechukwu. I think that's how you're supposed to pronounce it, but this is going to be a very solid fight in that light heavyweight division. 29 years old and 27 years old. Very tall, very lengthy. Kennedy Nzechukwu right there with an 83-inch reach, having a 4.5-inch advantage and a 1-inch advantage in height. So he's a very tall, very lengthy guy, has that high guard, kind of like Yan, where he's kind of keeping his hands right there. Doesn't really need to at times, because he literally just keeps on getting some shots going through, and he eats a lot of unnecessary shots just because he's keeping the hands up and hoping to defend on those shots. But overall, he's a very solid fighter, only losing to Paul Craig on his first fight in the UFC, with Paul Craig being a ranked opponent in this light heavyweight division. He's also beating guys like Darko Stosic by unanimous decision, Carlos Ulberg by second round knockout, and then Danilo Marquez. In the Danilo fight, I believe he was losing for the most part earlier on in the fight, but as usual, he comes back in that third round, gets Danilo's back to the cage, and just starts throwing, gets the knockout. Due to Danilo kind of getting a little gas there. Carlos Ulberg, kind of the same situation, went out there, won the first round, then Kennedy ate a few more shots, and then Carlos Ulberg gassed, got Carlos Ulberg's back to the cage, started throwing, and knocked him out in the second round. The main way that Kennedy Nzechukwu was winning is to survive that early storm from his opponent, get them a little bit more gas, and then finish them in the second or third round. That is what he's done in his last two fights, but now he's fighting Jung, who I just do not think is going to gas out. He's a guy coming off some very, very solid wins. Khadisi Bergamo, third round guillotine. Mike Rodriguez with a first round knockout. A draw against Sam Alvey. Not necessarily the best look, but then beating William Knight in the grappling and ground pounding game. Very, very solid guy right here. I mean, Jung, if he's going to win the fight, it's going to be to actually go out there and not get gassed out. That is, again, how Kennedy has won pretty much every one of his fights, is where his opponent gets gassed out. Jung just needs to not gas out, keep the fight at range, and just go in and out with the striking. Just throw some really powerful shots once you close that distance, because again, he's going to be a lot taller, a lot lengthier, but close that distance, land some shots up top after you kind of make Kennedy think it's going to be mainly a striking fight. As you keep on going in and out with the striking, go down for a double leg takedown, go down for a trip takedown as well. And then do what he did against William Knight. Just the ground pounding that he did show in that last fight was absolutely devastating. So if he can do that again here, earlier rounds, and actually tire out Kennedy and Nzechukwu, instead of, as it usually happens for Kennedy, as his opponent's getting tired, Jung will actually be the fresher fighter late and could definitely get the finish. But I do think the fight does go all the way. Kennedy's only loss is a submission to Paul Craig. I don't think Jung is going to get a submission here. I think he goes out there, goes inside the distance, comes in there, comes inside Kennedy, lands some really big shots, mixes in the takedown, the ground and pound as well, and I do think that Jung wins every single round and gets a 30-27 unanimous decision. Right now the betting odds are very close, actually, -130 and then +110, so it's a very, very close fight, but definitely leaning the favorite in Jung to win the fight by decision. Right here, 50-50 on those Tapology predictions. It's a very close one, but I'm going to go Jung by a decision right there. Really good fight in that light heavyweight division. Marc, Diakiese, and Rafael Alves in the lightweight division. It's been a little bit of time since Marc Diakiese has had his last fight, which was 1 year, 3 months ago. But the main things I really want to look at for this fight with Rafael Alves and Marc Diakiese, both guys have power in their hands and feet. Rafael Alves knocked out, I believe he knocked out Alejandro Flores. He almost knocked out Alejandro, then got the guillotine and almost knocked out Damir Ismagulov. Of course, he ended up losing that fight, but Damir is a very, very tough test for a guy like Rafael Alves on his first fight inside the UFC. Absolutely insane, but Marc Diakiese and Rafael Alves, power is the main thing I have to say. But again, we need to look at some other factors, including the height and including the reach, because right there, the reach advantage for Marc Diakiese is going to be 5 inches, as well as a 2-inch height advantage, as well as a little bit of an age advantage. He's got the power advantage over Rafael Alves. I believe he's going to have the speed advantage over Rafael Alves, although it is very, very close in those two marks. The striking, in terms of the amount of strikes they're going to be landing, I think it's going to go Marc Diakiese, because they both kind of have similar styles. Go out there, put on the pressure, and look for that big shot. I mean, Marc Diakiese threw some really, really good high kick that he almost knocked out Rafael Alves with before he went Matrix mode and went and just dodged that head kick on from Marc Diakiese. But overall, we're going to see a mainly rangier fight, because both guys with a lot of power in their hands. It's not going to be a fight that one guy's just going to come forward, because they're going to eat a shot and they're going to get knocked out. So it's going to be a more technical striking fight, in my opinion. Marc Diakiese, being the lengthier, taller guy, is just going to capitalize, laying more volume on the feet, as well as he is going to have the wrestling and grappling advantage. Got a lot of takedowns against Joe Duff. A couple takedowns on Leah Venata. If he can take down those guys, I believe he can take down Rafael Alves. I believe he has a striking advantage to go out there and win the fight, but mix that with the wrestling advantage as well. Definitely going to go Marc Diakiese to win that fight. If we can find the betting odds for the fight, because I might be blind and not be able to see it right here. -150 and then +120. So again, I'm going to be going for the slight favorite in Marc Diakiese. Oh my god, I believe the odds are really just switched. Let's refresh the page, because those odds have really just flipped on their heads right there. Let's check one more time. Those odds literally just flipped as we were looking at it. +150 for Rafael Alves now, and then -170. So a lot of money is going in on Marc Diakiese very, very recently, as he was at -145, now all the way down to -171. Yeah, I'm definitely going to go the favorite right here, Marc Diakiese, and I don't think he gets the finish. I believe Rafael Alves has been finished in the past, one due to injury, one due to leg kick, guillotine, armbar. A lot of them are submission losses in his career, only getting knocked out 3 times a long time ago in 2012, 2013. I don't see a knockout here. Marc Diakiese has taken too much time off to where I'd be confident in him getting the knockout. So I think the fight goes all the way. Marc wins the fight on the feet, mixes in the takedown, and wins the fight by unanimous decision. Really good fight in the lightweight division. Cortney Casey and Liana Jojua in the women's flyweight division. Not a good fight by any means, in my opinion. 34 years old, a lot taller, a lot lengthier than Liana Jojua, whose main path to victory right here is going to be the grappling and wrestling. She is a Muay Thai fighter, as she has a very, very solid kicking game, decent boxing game as well. Not the best power in her hands, as I don't think she has any knockouts except for this one way back in 2015 against a 1-2 fighter. But other than that, mainly she's going out there to take you down, get you back to the cage, get you down and get that armbar submission. Literally every single win is attacking at the arm or attacking at the leg for that submission. I don't think she's going to get a submission on Cortney Casey per se, because, yeah, she got submitted by Jillian Robertson, but that was way back in the third round with literally like 28 seconds left in that fight. Other than that, I haven't seen any other fights that she's been finished with unless it was way back in 2013. So there's only 2 finish losses or submission losses. But again, I don't think Liana Jojua is as good of a wrestler and grappler as Jillian Robertson and as well as Pearl Gonzalez right there. So I think the fight goes either way, goes all the way either way, whoever wins the fight. If Liana wins, it's going to be a highly grappling and wrestling game plan. A little bit of ground and pound mixed in there. Heavy pressure on the feet. But overall, with the reach and height advantage that Cortney Casey will possess in the fight, she's going to win the fight. She's a lot older. She is 9-9. That is not the best record, but she's fighting some solid girls. If you look at the girls she's fighting, Jillian Robertson, Cynthia Calvillo, beating Angela Hill, fighting Michelle Watterson, Claudia Gadelia, Joanne Calderwood. She's fighting some really solid competition here, but overall, I think she's also going to win this fight. She's going to keep the fight at range, defend the takedowns of Liana Jojua, and win the fight by decision. Now, do I think these odds are warranted? No, I don't. I don't think she should be a 2-1 favorite, especially in women's MMA, where a girl like Cortney Casey does not do good at all on her back, and Liana Jojua is looking to do exactly that and get Cortney Casey on her back. It should be a much closer fight. Minus 150 made a little bit more sense. I don't agree with the odds. I think it should be a little bit more condensed down, but I do think that Cortney Casey should definitely win the fight by decision. Not a good fight, but a decent fight right here in the women's flyweight division. Sean Woodson and Collin Anglin in the featherweight division. Now, again, it's another one of those I don't necessarily think he should be that big of a favorite. Yeah, he's going to be right there 5 inches taller than Collin Anglin, as well as 8 inches longer than Collin Anglin. Absolutely insane. But a guy like Sean Woodson, whose only loss is to Julian Erosa, who took him down and got the submission, having a very close fight with Youssef Zalal as well, is not a type of guy I would want to be around a 3-1 favorite. I don't agree at that big of a favorite. I'm going to go Sean Woodson to still win the fight, but it is a little bit closer. With a guy right here like Collin Anglin that is coming off a loss from El Sigma Dazarian, kind of fighting for his life in the UFC, he's going to go out there with a heavy pressure. A lot of his knockout wins right here are him literally just coming forward, getting your back into the cage, and just throwing really big shots, and maybe landing a takedown and some ground and pound as well. But that is the main way. That is the main reason I don't think it's as lopsided as a fight that a lot of people do think, is because Collin Anglin has a lot of power in his hands. A lot of knockout wins go for Collin Anglin. He's going to have the wrestling advantage, he's going to have the grappling advantage, and just like the fight with Julian Erosa, he can latch onto a submission on Sean Woodson right here. Maybe a Darce, maybe a guillotine, maybe a rear naked. I really don't know. Definitely possible, but of course, is that really going to happen? I don't think so. The fight is definitely going to go all the way, in my opinion. I don't think that Sean... Actually, it's not definitely going to go all the way, because I believe Collin Anglin is coming off a knockout loss. Sean Woodson coming off that submission loss, so... take that back. It's not definitely going to go all the way, but I do think it will go all the way. I think Sean Woodson will be able to defend the takedowns. He's gotten a little bit better in the grappling and wrestling since the fight with Julian Erosa. Still not the best, and I can still see a path to victory there in the wrestling and grappling for Collin Anglin. But overall, I'm still going to go Sean Woodson. I think the wrestling and grappling slightly improved. He'll be able to defend most, and if not all of the takedowns from Collin Anglin. Keep the fight on the feet. Do what he always does. Use that height. Use that length. Stay on the outside. In and out. And win the fight by decision. Really good fight in the featherweight division right there. Miguel Baeza and Khaos Williams in the welterweight division. Now this... all I gotta say, banger of a fight in the welterweight division. Khaos Williams, the plus 125 underdog, and then Miguel Baeza at minus 145. But this is the fight it's very unexpected on who's going to win right here. I believe Miguel Baeza is going to be 2 inches taller, but Khaos Williams is going to have a 2.5 inch reach advantage, so it kind of cancels out a little bit right there. But it's one of those fights you have no idea what's going to happen, because Khaos Williams is coming off some pretty damaging fights with Michel Pereira, with Matthew Semmelsberger as well. He's beaten some very solid guys, knocking out Alex Morono, knocking out Abdulrazak Hassan, and a decision win on Matt Semmelsberger. But this fight right here is very, very close. Khaos, in my opinion, is going to have that power advantage. Really, really powerful right hand. But Miguel Baeza is going to be the more technical guy. Going to be landing a little bit more volume than Khaos Williams. Landing a lot of leg kicks on Khaos Williams to kind of diminish the amount of power he's able to generate. Mixing in the takedowns and mixing in the wrestling and grappling. Submission win on Takashi Sato. He did knock out Matt Brown, but he does have a lot of wins that are due to ground and pound and due to submission. He's had a really, really solid kicking game as well. Light kick to ground and pound on Hector Aldana right there. And, of course, the left hook knockout on Matt Brown right there. So he's got a really good kicking game. The leg kicks are really good. The body kicks are good. I think that's going to be a main focus for Miguel Baeza, is to really break down Khaos Williams for this full 3-round fight. Make his movement not as good. Make the power he generates not as good. And once that power is kind of diminished a little bit, Miguel's going to come forward with heavy, heavy volume, heavy pressure. Eat some of those shots from Khaos. Keep on landing that volume. Land the takedown and out-grapple and out-wrestle Khaos Williams. So my prediction right here is going to be Miguel Baeza. I believe in that first round, he's going to be paying a hard focus on diminishing the movement of Khaos Williams with those leg kicks and with those body kicks. And in the second and third round, laying on the pressure, laying on that volume, and mixing in those takedowns. And I do think the fight goes all the way. I don't remember the last time Khaos Williams has been knocked out. Yeah, he's never been knocked out in his career, even as an amateur. So I think the fight goes all the way. Miguel Baeza winning that fight by unanimous decision. I'll give the first round to Khaos Williams when the leg isn't as busted up, but in the later rounds, second and third, go Miguel Baeza, decision winner right there. Really good fight in the welterweight division. Cynthia Calvillo and Andrea Lee in the flyweight division. Not the best girls right here. I mean, she's on a 2-fight losing streak, getting knocked out very badly against Jessica Andrade, with her literally covering up, doing the Alistair Overeem strategy, just shelling up and eating shots to the TKO. Also coming off that loss in her second to last fight to Caitlin Chukagian. Andrea Lee losing to Roxanne Modafferi. That's pretty sad. Lauren Murphy by split decision, and Joanne Calderwood by split decision as well. She's going to be 2 inches taller and have a 5.5-inch reach advantage. But again, she lost to Roxanne Modafferi. That is absolutely sad, is all they really have to say. But 32 years old and then 34 years old right there. 70% going the underdog in Calvillo. I don't think she's the underdog anymore. Yeah, she's not the underdog anymore right now. It's a very, very even fight on these betting odds. Minus 115 and then minus 105. The average at minus 120 for Cynthia. So those odds did flip because they had Cynthia as the underdog for a while, and then they flipped to Cynthia Calvillo. It's a very close fight. Very, not the best, top tierish women's flyweights in the world. They're kind of the middle of the pack women's flyweight fighters right here. But Andrea Lee, of course, is going to have the judo advantage, is going to have the kicking advantage at range. She's going to be the taller, lengthier fighter as well. But we do know that Cynthia Calvillo is going to be the more powerful puncher. She's going to be the faster puncher. She's also going to be the better counter puncher as well. She's got solid wrestling. She could definitely fall back on. I don't think that's going to be too good of an idea fighting a girl like Andrea Lee, who's coming off submission win over Antonina Shevchenko, submitting Jamie Thornton, submitting Heather Bastet. All of these girls, she's getting a lot of submissions on. So I don't think taking down Andrea Lee is necessarily going to be the best game plan for Cynthia Calvillo. But mainly if Cynthia is going to win the fight, it's going to be coming forward, putting on a lot of volume, a lot of pressure on Andrea Lee. A lot of people would think that Cynthia Calvillo, being mainly a counter-punching type of girl, maybe the counter-punching game would be worthwhile for Cynthia. But due to that really, really high, really, really lengthy frame of Andrea Lee, 2 inches taller and a 5.5-inch reach, I don't know how well she's going to be able to counter a girl that's just able to jab at 1-2 and just get on the outside over and over and over again. So for those reasons, I do think Cynthia's main way of winning is going to be to counter a little bit in the early rounds, figure out the range, and then come forward with an explosive combination every now and then. Keep on countering, and explode with a combination. I think that's really going to work well for Cynthia Calvillo right here. The wrestling and grappling, I don't think either girl's going to take down either girl. I think the fight stays on the feet, and I think Andrea Lee is going to land slightly more volume, but Cynthia Calvillo is going to land the more powerful shots in those combinations as she's coming forward. Remember, just countering, and once Andrea Lee comes in, coming forward with a 3, 4, 5 punch combination, and I do think that's what's going to get her the win. The judges, especially in women's MMA, you either need a takedown to secure the round, or you need some really big flurry that's really going to put a stamp on the judges to really say that you won the round. And I think that's really what's going to get Cynthia Calvillo the win right here, is keeping the fight in range. As Andrea Lee comes in, just keep countering and eventually come with a flurry, a little bit 4 or 5 punch combination right there. It's a very close one. I can definitely see Andrea just keep it in range, using the height, using that reach, maybe landing a takedown on Cynthia, but overall I think the fight goes all the way, and Cynthia Calvillo wins that fight by unanimous decision. Really good fight in the women's flyweight division. Thiago Moisés and Joel Alvarez in the lightweight division. 26 years old. I was very surprised that he's that young of an MMA fighter right here, but his opponent not that much older at 28 and a half years old, only losing to really solid guys in the lightweight division like Damir Ismagulov and Ali Albertakhailov, however you say that name, but he's 9-1 and he's fighting over there in Brave CF. So the only 2 guys he's losing to are very solid guys. Heki knocking in the first, and then Damir by unanimous decision. But this fight right here is going to come down to, can Joel Alvarez land that takedown? We saw what was able to happen in the last fight with Islam Makhachev. Islam went out there, pressured the heck out of Thiago Moisés, got the back to the cage, left hook, double leg takedown, maybe a little trip in there as well. That I believe he used the inside trip on Thiago Moisés very often in that fight. But Joel Alvarez, being a very good grappler and wrestler, just like a guy like Islam Makhachev, having 18 wins, 2 losses, with 16 of those wins coming by submission, and 2 of those wins coming by knockout. It's very likely that we're going to see another submission win right here for Joel Alvarez. But it's very tough because Joel Alvarez, if you look at the tabloid predictions, 70% are going Moisés, but you got to look at the height and the reach. 6-inch height advantage for Joel Alvarez, and a 6.5-inch reach advantage. That is a crazy differential. Of course, Thiago Moisés is going to be the better striker. He outclassed Alexander Hernandez. He beat Bobby Green. I don't know if he won that fight per se. Submitted Michael Johnson as well, but the striking is there for Thiago Moisés, but he has not fought a guy this tall and this lengthy as Joel Alvarez. So I really don't know how he's going to fare to the reach and reach and height. Gonna have to close that distance, and if he closes the distance, Joel Alvarez, in my opinion, being the better grappler and wrestler, is gonna be able to land that takedown and maybe get that submission as well. So a very close fight. Thiago Moisés is going to be able to leave a 2-1 favorite right here. Oh my god, minus 250 favorite right here. Started at minus 130. It should be a 50-50 in my opinion. I think this one should be minus 110 and minus 110. I'm going to go the underdog. I'm going to go Joel Alvarez to win the fight. I'm going to go a decision. The only guy to really finish a guy like Thiago Moisés has been Islam Makhachev. And that is literally it. The Islam Makhachev, being that good of a wrestler and grappler, submitted him in the 4th round. It took 4 rounds for Islam Makhachev to submit him. So even with the guy like Joel Alvarez being that good of a wrestler or grappler, I do not think he's going to submit Thiago Moisés right here. I think the fight goes all the way. Alvarez keep the fight at range, use the height and the reach. And as Thiago comes in, lands a takedown, and wins the fight by decision. I believe this is my first underdog of the night. Yeah, this is my first underdog of the night. I'm going to go Joel Alvarez to win the fight by decision right there. Really good fight in the lightweight division. Yadong Song and Julio Arce in the bantamweight division. 23, almost 24 years old. Gonna be fighting a 32-year-old guy. So almost a 10-year difference in age right there. More like an 8, maybe 9-year difference, but still, there are a lot of a big differential in terms of age right there. Not gonna play a factor, of course, but Yadong Song actually having more experience at 23 years old. He has literally 2 more professional MMA fights than Julio Arce. Now, of course, a lot of those fights were over there in China in the span of a couple of months. I mean, you look at 2013, 3 months after that, 4 months after that, 3 months after that, and then 6 months after that. He's fighting very, very often over there in China. Literally started fighting since he was 16 years old. He's beaten some very solid guys inside of the UFC. Felipe Arantes, Fins Morales, Alejandro Perez by knockout. Get a draw against Cody Stamen. Beat Marlon Vera, although it was controversial. And then he beat Casey Kennedy by split decision. Julio Arce just now moving down to that bantamweight division after losing to Hakeem Dawodu by split decision. Now went down to bantamweight and knocked out Andrea very, very easily. Got very solid leg kicks, really good boxing, likes to get your pack to the cage and land some really big shots. But this fight right here is going to be very, very close. Yadong Song being the faster striker, being the guy that's going to be landing a lot more volume. Julio Arce being the guy that has a little bit more power in his hands, being a little bit of a bigger fighter coming down from featherweight to bantamweight. It's a very, very tough fight to gauge on here. And it can definitely go either way. The wrestling and grappling, I don't think is going to play a factor. Neither guy is going to have that big of an advantage over the other in that department. So I think the fight stays on the feet. Yadong Song being the faster, more volume type of fighter, I think is going to play the more counter-punching game as Julio Arce comes in to land his combination. Yadong Song is literally just going to counter and good on the outside. I believe he's going to do that very, very well for all 3 rounds. Maybe give 1 round to Julio Arce, but the main thing I'm saying is going to be a Yadong Song winning that fight right there. Most of the odds have it minus 150, but one of them in Bet Online has it minus 126 right there, which I do believe is going to be the best odds you're probably going to get for Yadong Song. But I'm going to go Yadong Song decision here. I don't see him finishing a guy like Julio Arce, who did not get finished by Hakeem Dawodu, did not get finished by Shaman Moraes. Yeah, he got submitted by Brian Kelleher, but that was a submission. Never been knocked out as an MMA fighter. Yadong Song by decision right there. Really good fight in the bantamweight division. Roman Dolidze and Kyle Daukaus in the middleweight division. Another short notice fight right here. Same reach and then almost the same height. A little bit younger is Kyle Daukaus, and a little bit better is going to be Kyle Daukaus. Roman Dolidze coming off not the best win. I mean, he did win the fight against Loreno Starapoli, but he literally got the fight to the clinch and held there, landing a few foot stomps, a few body shots here and there, but really did not do too much in the fight. A split decision over John Allen really is not too impressive. Yeah, he knocked out Kadis Ibrahimov, but I'm not too impressed by Roman Dolidze in his last couple of fights. His only loss is Trevin Giles, which is a very solid guy to be losing to, but now he's going to fight Kyle Daukaus, who all in every facet of the game, in my opinion, is going to be better, except for maybe the clinch, as we saw in the last fight. But Kyle Daukaus is definitely going to be the better striker, showing that in his last fight against Kevin Holland. He knocked out, or he got the submission on Kevin Holland, but there was an accidental headbutt before that. But in these striking exchanges, I do think that Kyle Daukaus was actually beating Kevin Holland for a little bit there. If he can beat Kevin Holland in the striking, he looked really, really solid in doing so, landing some good left hooks, a good straight right down the middle. If he can do that against Kevin Holland, he can definitely do that against Roman Dolidze. He's going to have the better striking than Roman Dolidze. He's going to have the better wrestling than Roman Dolidze, the better grappling than Roman Dolidze as well. Got very, very good submission skills. A Darce choke, rear naked. And I don't think we're going to see a submission here, but I do think that Kyle Daukaus is going to go out there, outstrike Roman Dolidze, mix in some takedowns, a couple submission attempts as well, and I do think he wins the fight fairly easily. One of my biggest favorites on the card. I mean, he's at minus 250 right now on the betting odds. Let's see if they updated it. Let's see right here. Oh my god, I'm blind. Yeah, there they are. Minus 210 for Kyle Daukaus and then plus 180. So the odds have kind of simmered down a little bit since the last couple of days. But overall, definitely going Kyle Daukaus. One of my most confident picks on the card is definitely going to be Kyle Daukaus because he has the advantage in literally every facet of the game, in my opinion. But that's a really good fight in the middleweight division. Felicia Spencer and Leah Letson in the featherweight division. Felicia the Phenom Spencer on a 2-fight losing streak, and really not doing too good. I mean, she's on a 1-3 streak in her last 4, getting a unanimous decision loss to Chris Cyborg, getting a unanimous decision loss to Amanda Nunes, and then getting a split decision loss to Norma Dumont. But, I mean, if she's able to last that long with Amanda Nunes, last that long with Chris Cyborg, we gotta give her props for that. Yeah, she beat Zara Farron, but Zara Farron is absolute garbage. They're both in the prime of their MMA careers. A little bit of a height and reach advantage for Leah Letson, but she's not gonna need it. That's not going to be a what gets her the win right here. Felicia Spencer is going to have the wrestling advantage. She's going to have the grappling advantage over Leah Letson, as well as she is going to have the karate striking advantage. Likes to kind of do that Michael Venom pace, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson stance, where she's kind of going in and out, letting really good body kicks, really good leg kicks at range. Overall, is going to out volume Leah Letson, is going to out power Leah Letson, is going to out wrestle, out grapple Leah Letson. Very, very confident pick right here. It's going to be a decision. I don't think Leah Letson, she actually got knocked out by Macy Chiasson. So I don't know if I'll go like super confident in a decision right here, but I definitely think it should be a fairly easy win for Felicia Spencer. But again, it's not one of those fights I would likely be betting on because she's on a 2-fight losing streak, and Leah Letson hasn't fought in a while. You don't know how much improvements she's made in the 3-year layoff, so she could go out there looking absolutely amazing. But overall, I agree with this. I think the fight does go all the way, and Spencer does win the fight by decision, plus 130. Very interesting. Yeah, I got Felicia Spencer by decision. Every facet of the game, the striking, her karate's better. In the clinch, she's got good knees, she's got good elbows. She's really good on the break with landing a good right hand. She's a better grappler, she's a better wrestler. Every facet of the game goes Felicia. So my prediction, Felicia Spencer by unanimous decision. Decent fight in the women's featherweight division. Ben Rothwell and Marcos Rogério de Lima in the heavyweight division, the co-main events. Now, Marcos Rogério de Lima, Ben Rothwell does not really seem like co-main event material. When you got guys like Thiago, Moisés, Alvarez, Yadong, Julio, Arce, you got Miguel, Baeza, Khaos, Williams, Diakiese, Alves, Jung, and Nzechukwu. You got all those fights out there that can definitely be co-main event material, but this is the co-main event, so we'll deal with it. But Ben Rothwell is a veteran of the game. If you look at a lot of the guys he's fought and beaten, I mean, it's absolutely insane. Let's look to when he joined the UFC way back in 2009. Fought Cain Velasquez, fought Marc Hunt, knocked out Brendan Schaub, lost to Gabriel Gonzaga, but fought Gabriel Gonzaga, went on a streak, knocking out Alistair Overeem, knocking out Brandon Vera, knocking out Matt Mitrione, and then submitting Josh Barnett right there, fighting Junior Dos Santos, Blago Ivanov, Andrei Arlovsky, beating Ovi St. Preux, Stefan Struve, fighting Marcin Tybura, and then beating Chris Barnett. The amount of guys right here that have been in the top 15, Marcin Tybura, Ovi St. Preux, Stefan Struve, Andrei Arlovsky, Blago Ivanov, Junior Dos Santos, Josh Barnett, Alistair Overeem, Gabriel Gonzaga, Marc Hunt, Cain Velasquez, Alistair Overeem, Andrei Arlovsky, and all of these guys right here have been ranked heavyweight fighters. He's fighting some legit guys in his heavyweight career. Then you go on to Marcos Rogério de Lima. He's losing to OV St. Preux, losing it to really every single guy he's getting a step up against. He's beating some decent guys that are no longer in the UFC. Pretty much every single guy he has beaten is not in the UFC anymore. I literally do not. I have no idea how. Maurice Green just got covered in the UFC. Ben Sassoli is not in the UFC. Adam Wierzazek is not in the UFC. Jeremy not in the UFC. Every single guy this man has beaten is not in the UFC anymore. Every single one of them has gotten cut from the UFC. Now, a lot of them are first round finishes. First to knockout, first to knockout, first to knockout. Decision win, first to knockout, and then a decision. He's gotten some really solid power to stands, getting a lot of finishes, but he's not fighting nearly the good competition. Every time he gets that step up in competition, Gadzimir Antagulov, Ovi St. Preux, Stefan Struve, Alexander Romanov, every single time he gets that step up in competition, he loses the fight. That's exactly what's going to happen here. Again, if you look at it right here, look right here. He loses Nikita, wins, loses, wins, loses, wins, loses, wins, loses, wins, and he's going to lose the next fight as well. Ben Rothwell was an amazing boxer. Very, very solid cardio. Has more, not necessarily more power than Marcos. He's got better striking defense. He's better, I would say, better volume than Marcos. He's going to go out there, stay away from those big power shots of Marcos. Does not let Marcos Rogério de Lima take him down. Did a very good job of that against Marcin Tybura. He's going to keep the fight on the feet and outbox Marcos Rogério de Lima for 3 straight rounds, a 30-27 decision. I mean, if Marcin Tybura had a tough time taking down Ben Rothwell, where Ben Rothwell was actually the favorite in the fight, if Marcin was not able to land the takedown too often in that fight, Ben Rothwell should have not a problem keeping the fight on the feet, where he's going to be the more volume, he's going to have the faster striking, he's going to have pretty much every advantage on the feet except for power, but he's not going to get knocked out. The last time this man has been knocked out was Cain Velasquez in 2009. He's not going to get knocked out. This fight will go all the way, and Ben Rothwell will win the fight by unanimous decision. A really good fight in the heavyweight division. Max Holloway and Yair Rodriguez in the featherweight division. Yeah, that's some crazy odds. A minus 550 and then plus 400. 22 wins, 6 losses, and 13 wins and 2 losses right there. Same height and a little bit of a reach advantage for Yair Rodriguez. And then pretty much the exact same age, just by around 10 months. But yeah, Yair Rodriguez, of course, is going to be the kickboxer out of the two. 13 wins and 2 losses. Knocking out Jung. But at first beating Jeremy Stephens by decision. But before that, getting the eye poke, which is absolutely nasty. Only losing a Frankie Edgar by Dr. Stoppage, and that is pretty much it. Other than that, beat Leonardo Moraes, Charles Rosa, Dan Hooker, Andre Fili, Alex Caceres, BJ Penn. Only losing a Frankie Edgar. That is very impressive. But right now, 6 knockouts, 3 submissions, and 6 decisions. The only times where he's really able to get that knockout is a crazy finish, where his opponents just aren't really using the correct defense. Andre Fili just walks right in the head kick. Jung had his hands down a little bit and literally with 1 second left landed the elbow. It's very fluke scenarios that he's actually getting the finish, or he's fighting a very old fighter like BJ Penn. So I don't think we're going to see another one of those fluke scenarios where Yair Rodriguez goes out there and gets another crazy spinning knockout or something like that. It's not going to happen. Max Holloway, I don't think has ever been finished in his UFC career or in his career in general. Yeah, he's never been finished except for 1 submission on Dustin Poirier. So the fight's going to go all the way. This is definitely going to be a decision or a knockout win for Max Holloway. Max is going to go out there, put heavy pressure on Yair Rodriguez as usual, as he just did against Calvin Kattar. Get Yair's back to the cage and just start throwing combinations. He's got really good striking defense, crazy volume, crazy cardio. And come on. It's Max Holloway. It's Max Bless Holloway. Minus 550. You already know who I'm going to be predicting. Max Holloway is going to pressure. He's going to volume. He's going to out-cardio Yair Rodriguez for 5 straight rounds and win the fight in a dominant decision. I'm going to go 49-46. Maybe 1 round goes Yair. But I can definitely see a late knockout. 4th or 5th round, I can definitely see Max Holloway getting a knockout right here. But again, I don't think Yair's ever been finished too much. He lost that 1 fight against Frankie Edgar by Dr. Stoppage. I'm not too sure what happened there. That was after the bell, but I don't think we're going to see a finish here. It's very likely, but I think the fight goes all the way. As usual, Max Bless Holloway wins the fight and goes on to get a trilogy fight, even though he lost both of the other ones against Alexander Volkanovski. Decision win for Max Holloway right there. Yeah, that is my full card prediction for UFC Fight Night Holloway versus Rodriguez. 12 fights on the entire fight card. I got Holloway by decision, Ben Rothwell by decision, Spencer decision, Kyle Dawkins decision, Yadong Song decision, Joel Alvarez, very 50-50 on decision or submission. Definitely can go either way. Cynthia Calvillo definitely by decision. Miguel Baeza, oh my god, I'm going to say every single one by decision. Sean Woodson decision, Courtney Casey by decision, Marc Diakiese by decision, and Jung by decision. I have every single one of the people I am predicting winning their fights by decision, but of course it is MMA, it's the UFC, we're going to get some finishes. Would not be surprised if this light heavyweight fights to finish. The lightweight fights to finish. Would not be surprised if this welterweight fights to finish. Not surprised if this one is a finish as well. And would not be surprised if the main event's to finish. So we can definitely see a lot of finishes here. But I think every single one is going to be a decision. Of course, we're going to see some finishes. But like the video, subscribe to the channel, and everything like that. And before we end the video, if you guys want to become a channel member, go to the description of this video and become a member for $3 a month to see every single one of my bets for UFC, Bellator, LFA, PFL, everything like that. So like the video, subscribe, turn on those post notifications and everything like that. And we'll see you in the next video. Let's go.